Hello. Okay, so this week I have a half an hour time lapse coming up, so I'm going to make these two very quickly. I've got two pieces. That's on Thursday the 7th. So we've got this beautiful one. It's called Alien Landscape. These are both 10 by 12, Thursday the 7th. Alien Landscape. I'll show you it very, very quickly. There you go, because you're going to see half an hour time lapse. So that's this week, Thursday the 7th, and we have this one as well. So we've got two this week. Look at that. Bit mad, bit crazy, but I loves it. There we go. Okay, so both of these up on Thursday the 7th, and in a moment will be a half an hour time lapse of the Alien Landscape, if you want to watch that. If you like time lapses, just very, very briefly, this one is called Beneath the Blue. This is coming up the following week, which is Thursday the 14th, and this one also has a time lapse. This one has 25 minutes time lapse. So when I do my time lapses, I do them right from the very, very start, right from a blank board all the way to the finished piece. Hope you've enjoyed them. Thursday the 7th for those two, and obviously the one with the shark and the coral reef is the following Thursday the 14th. Take care and be well. Here's the time lapse. Enjoy. Cheers. Well, good morning. So I'm going to be doing an alien landscape on this. It's canvas board, it's 12 by 10. My plan is, I want to do quite a wild sky, but to blend it well, really. But just colours that we don't normally see on Earth. So it's going to be quite an unusual sky. That's the first section of it. Second section will be the mountains. I want some high tiers, high peaks, very sharp. And that will be done in browns, mostly black brown mixed with a lighter yellowy brown covering it, but you'll get the gist of that as we slowly progress. That I think will be on both sides, blending in to just a soft sandy landscape, but there will be a little community of aliens, little houses, I know, bear with me, and that'll have its own little force shield around it. Then there'll be some trees, but not many. They'll be quite sparse, and they'll be from tiny in the background to getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually ending up on a fairly focal tree. The trees are going to be quite unusual because they're going to have gold leaves. I've made up my mind. They may change. This all may change, but I think they're going to have gold leaves. The bark of the tree obviously depends on where it is in the painting. As to how much light is touching the tree and how much of this dark sand and mountain is touching the other side of the tree. So it'll be quite a unique little piece, and I'm really looking forward to doing it. So stick with me, and I'll just film bits and bobs. I'm not going to film the whole thing because obviously it's going to take a number of days, and it's just kind of many hours each day. So what I'll do, I'll just intersperse little bits of filming and clip them all together. But you will see the whole thing really taking shape. So there's the blank board, and then in 10 minutes time perhaps, or whenever, 20 minutes, I would say there's a finished painting. So stay with me and see what we can do. Cheers. Okay, we're going to make a start. So I don't know if you can see, here's the colours that I'm using. You can see in my hand, you can't. Okay, so there's the colours that I'm using at the moment. I've just got a beautiful rich dark blue, vibrant red, yellow and white. That's all we've got, and we're going to mix with water. It's going to be quite a quick sky, this one, so just get some water on there. I just damp the brush. It just makes the paint move a bit freer, a bit smoother. So just start off with white in the middle there. Looks like my brush is dirty already. Let's I get through loads of this kitchen roll, you know. Right, we'll start again. So we can take some white, a little bit of water. That's alright. This is going to be yellow, this middle piece here, but if you put white on, it just makes the yellow very, very vibrant, makes it stand out. There we go. Notice that the board is very, very dry. So I'm just going to spray it over with water. That's it. That's better. Things are flowing. There we go. So we're using the white. We take some yellow into that. Not very much. There we go. And we want to keep the middle piece nice and light and airy. That's the only piece that I'm interested in keeping light and airy. And as we progress, you see that we've got darker and darker. This will be, I'm going to mix this up in a minute. And we just get darker and darker as we go. So I'm just adding some red now to the yellow mix. A little bit of white in there as well. And some more water. And we're just going to put just a touch of blue in with that red. And you get a nice purple hue, just a tone. It's not even the colour purple, but it's just a tone. And then finally we finish off, we get more, much more of that blue into the red mix. Most of this will be covered by the mountains, the outside, but I just want it as a base colour more than anything. There we go. So now to bring all this together, there's 2 or 3 different ways, but what I'm going to do is use this great big fat stubby brush, which I love. I'm going to spray him to get him damp. I'm going to start in the white. Hair on there already. And we're just going to stipple this on. This won't be white in a minute, it'll be a slightly yellowy colour. Take some colour. That's looking good. So I want this sky to be a really unusual sort of a sky that we don't normally see. It is an alien landscape, as I've said, so we want a few different sort of colours creeping into the sky. So the lightest part is in the middle again. I'm just literally letting this bounce off now, because these are going to kind of represent clouds or movement in the sky at least. Get a touch more red on one side. Red always makes the painting much warmer. Okay, we're just going to finish this movement. This just brings it all together. I'm going to keep this movement going only on the darks before we get into the lights. There we go, and we're just going into the lights now. And that essentially is the sky done. There's going to be some land down here with the mountains, so I might as well just use the brush in that same motion that I want, which is the land to come together. It's always good to paint the way the land is going to lie. So if the land, we want it to come in like this, at this angle, then paint down at this angle. Sweep it down, sweep it in. Just helps in the long run, and it makes a cohesive painting at the end. So we're done there. That is it. Okay, so we're on to part 2. The sky is all nice and dry now. These are the colours that I'm using. So we've got some nice Mars black there with a deep brown and then a much lighter brown. And what I'm going to do is just mix these up roughly. So we only need these very rough mix, so we get all the colours together like this. I need to turn the board. So I'm just doing some very jaggedy alien landscape here. This is going to have a bit of a yellowy brown touch on once it's dry. The idea is I mix this up every time I put it to the board, so you get a slightly different flavour. There we go. So this is a very organic painting. It isn't something that I've seen. It doesn't come from a dream or anything like that. It's just, I'm kind of making it up as I go along. I know what I want, I said at the beginning, so I can see the finished product in my head. There we go, so that's really jaggedy. Really spiky. That's what I want. And then at the bottom here I'll just level this off a little bit. Okay, so it looks like there can be some water perhaps underneath this one. To twist the knife in a slightly different position, hence going for it half a dozen times before I get it right. There we go, something like that. So there will be water there on that piece, and I'm going to do similar across here. See you in a bit. I've moved on slightly there, and what I'm doing is just putting a bit of contours and shape and movement into these mountains or landscape, whatever we want to call it. And just mix some nice yellows just to give it some relief and some highlight in certain areas. There we go, so it's got a real rocky texture to it now. we go, that's going to do for that little section. So we're getting there, just slowly. Okay, we're still moving on then. So I've got white and burnt sienna here, and the white I'm just going to make a couple of little lines, just the illusion of some water, which is going to go about it's going to go about there. So I've done the land as such. It's going to change slightly because there's going to be a couple of little homesteads, alien homesteads. Okay, so the alien homesteads, I'm going to mix up a gentle colour there. Quite light. We want some land. I want to do some arches. And then on these arches will be some land. This will all make sense eventually. Okay, so that's one, and then we want to kind of repeat that here. Paint is still slightly wet there. I'm just going to make some arches out of this nice light colour. I'll go through the wet and pick up whatever colour it gives me. Do 3 arches, I think. I'll try to do one more. I think I will. I think I'll take it to cross that way. And then these are going to have some land on. The land will change colour. Once all this is dry, I need to add some more because I want some rocky sort of land, and this is where the homesteads will be. There we go, so we're getting there, just nice and quick, just throwing these bits of colour on. There we go, because all this is going to change. So this, if you like, this is just the underpainting. then start the trees. Once I've got this the land how I want it, I'm going to start putting the little buildings on. The buildings are going to have a little bit of a force field, and then I can start doing the trees. I'm only going to have about probably 4 or 5 trees, that's all, but I'm going to have one right in the distance, and then a couple of midways, and then a much more focal one. The more focal one will come here, but it's going to open up, so it's going to be quite a big one, and then probably one fairly near to it, but it's going to be set back in the land. You'll see it. And then just 2 smaller ones. Just going to add on to this land mass just slightly. I just want that to be like broken land there. Let's try some white on there as well. Can use my dark colour, but also with some yellow. And that will do for that little section, I think. So slowly getting there. Okay, so moving on. Hopefully you can see this little tiny community where the aliens live, and then a much larger community there. So I'm just using some burnt umber just to put in the roof space, just a little bit. It just gives it gives the feeling of, I don't know whether they're tiles or thatch or something. It just needs to be on just a few random places, a few random timbers really. Especially the edges, I kind of like the edges. Brings it all in. Like so. So we're getting there. I think the next stage I will probably do the force field around these buildings and start work on some distant trees. We'll see how we get on with those. Hello, Bodie. My dogs, because I'm talking, my little dogs come to see me. Of course. There we go. And what I want to do, I'm going to put the same colour just on the left of the doorway. That's all we need to do. Yeah, so it's taking shape. It's not a very good day today outside, it's very dark, very wet. So I don't know what the lighting is doing to the painting, but there it is. Okay, we're now working on what I call the force shield. So, as you can see that's where we're working. Losing my voice, so let me get that in a rough position. I'm going to take the smallest amount of white possible, and we're just going to come around the edge. So this is like a whatever protective shield, something like that. It's only something little, but I like it to be right, or right in my head. It just adds to the overall feel of the painting really. you didn't do this, they could look like a chalet in Switzerland, you know. And what I do, I just bring the colour down into the other colour. Just mix it together nice and gently. Let's check that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. So we're going to be working on this one. So we need a larger stencil. I do use stencils, I use all sorts in my work. Let me move those paintbrushes. And we'll just check that you can see. So I'm going to be working here. You can't really see that, can you? In that case, you need to move a little bit. There you go. So that's it. Let's zoom in. So this is the area that we're going to be working on. So hopefully one of these will be the right size. That's pretty good. Do I want it close? Or do I want it bigger? Yeah, I'm going to have it bigger. So we're just going to go there. And again, just the smallest amount of paint that I can possibly get onto the brush. This is what they call dry brushing. It's because you haven't got hardly any paint whatsoever, but you've got enough just to add a hue. It's a bit sharp there, but that's fine. Okay, this one's nearly done. I'm just going to bring it down slightly. Because it's supposed to be a bit like a protective barrier or something, so this force shield would come down into the atmosphere. I'm going to use a similar technique as well, because I want some like something, poison or whatever, to come out of the landscape in holes to go up into the atmosphere. There we go. And that's okay. Diluting that slightly, and also in there. Okay, so I've just been adding a few extra little details. I've got a few small trees with gold leaves coming on, as you see there, when it focuses. There we go. No. There we go. And then we've got some smoke here from whatever these things are, these geysers, or whatever they may be. There you go. Okay, we're moving on nicely now. Going to put quite a big tree about here. Just trying to make up my mind where it's going to go. I think we can lose that tree. So let's have a look. A little spray of me lovely water. Just make the paint glide really. The bark will be a yellowy gold eventually, so it's going to go about there. So what I like to do normally, I want to make a a very thin tree so that I know where things are going, and then I can big it up a little bit. So this is just the underpainting of the tree. As I say, we'll change colour. That's the thickness we need. About there. Yeah, that's going to be alright there. So we're just doing one of the little spacecraft, UFOs, flying saucers, whatever we want to call them. I've decided to do it, it's obvious, so obvious to do it in silver, that I've decided to put some blues into it rather than silver. Just thought it would be a bit different, and that's the whole idea of the painting, is that it's not quite as we think it's likely to be. Should there be a planet with aliens, no doubt we're going to think they're little green men, and perhaps they're big men, and perhaps they're orange, who knows. So we expect their spacecraft to be silver because it's metal, but maybe their metal is actually not metal, it's cobalt. So maybe they build everything out of cobalt, which is blue, this sort of a blue. Who knows? I've just dotted some whites there. They won't be white, these lights. They're going to be, I don't know whether they're going to be red, or they're going to be red and yellow, or they're going to be red and orange. I don't know at the moment, but I will sort it out. So I've done some work that you haven't seen. Let's just turn that like that, so you get a bit of an idea of what I've done. There you go. So you catch me in one of my moments. Get rid of that dirty old ashtray, you don't want to see that. Catch me in one of my moments. This is when I'm looking at a painting and I'm working out colours and things like that and what to do. I don't think people realise, you often sit and look and think and try to work stuff out and all the rest of it. This here, it's still wet, but I'm going to paint over this in a minute. The whole idea of doing the lights and all the rest of it white is when you put a colour on top of them, it just pops. It really lifts the colour. Now the colours, I mean, look at these gorgeous colours. What about these for working on the lights? Look at these colours. Look at them. Aren't they beautiful? They should go well together, shouldn't they? And I'm going to use this one for the, whatever you want to call that, ectoplasm? No, it's not. Whatever you want to call it. Anyway, so that's going to have that colour. So, well, let's do, got to do something, haven't we? So I'm going to have a little bit of this absolutely beautiful colour. Look at that. Glorious. So this is like a neon yellow with a green hue, and I want that brush. That's the brush I got out. So what we're going to do are we're going to do one light and then miss a light, etc, etc. Now to make these really work, I can leave this to dry and go back over them in a bit. I've got another little tiny baby one over this side, and I will do it the other way, so he's going to start with that one first. There we go. So this colour that I'm using, because I love, so I need to get out these soft brushes here. They're actually makeup brushes, women's makeup brushes, or men's, whatever you like. They're so soft, they're absolutely beautiful. But I've got to choose a reasonable size. Let me go for that one. Yeah, they're really so soft. And what I do, I pick up a little tiny gentle piece of colour, literally that much, and then just bounce that around. And you see that, how vibrant that is now. Now I've also got some beautiful metallic blue, and I'm going to put that in a couple of places on the spaceship. Just do a little bit over there. There you go. That'll do. Wash that brush in a moment. I'll put that over there so that I know it's been used. Okay, that's that. So we're whacking through this now. This is absolutely lovely, this paint. I need a tiny smidgen. Okay, so we're going to use this on the spaceship, and we're only going to use it sparingly. Now just give a sheen as it's going through the light. I'm not going to do one down below, but I am going to do one there. I'll turn you off for a second. And we are finished. I'll put some photographs on in a bit. There we go, thank you for watching.